Why do I have... I think it's most of those.
You're so popular. I feel like whenever we do the witch stories, like Grace Sherwood and Biddy Early, and I'm like, I want to be them. Like, I want to.
Yeah.
I want to.
to...
That's the other thing. Both of those women, Biddy Early and Grace Sherwood, they're just doing their thing, living their life, and it's like 300 years later, we're still talking about them, and we're like,
we want to be
inspired by it.
Yeah.
I freaking love that.
Yeah.
It's like, what if what we are doing,
I want to go
300 years from now, people are like,
well, and we're like, we want to go step where they've stepped because we want to,
it's just
experience
to know they were
that.
real.
Yes.
And like, because back then it was even harder to just be a badass woman,
Yes.
you know?
Yeah.
It's not always easy now.
No.
You all know.
Y'all know all about it.
All of you are badass women. That should be
And
another
men.
shirt. Just
And
badass woman.
And man.
Yes.
Or
any man can embody
badass-
the energy of a badass woman.
really, or just badass you.
Yes. That's true. We should be inclusive of all genders. I don't mean to be not inclusive.
No, but I mean,
yeah.
We're badass women, and you all can be whatever you want to be as a badass.
There we go. Everyone's covered.
Everyone's covered here.
This is the Witches, Magic, Murder, and Mystery podcast.
And words are hard.
And
I'm Kara.
I'm Megan.
Hey guys. Hey.
All right, I've got one of my, I hate saying favorite.
One of her types.
Yeah, it's a very
she likes
Megan
to research.
story.
Yes.
Because it's super fascinating to me. And hopefully to you.
And
hopefully that's why you're here.
And to you as well.
All right. All right. So this is a mystery.
Oh, yay.
So I got this Patreon message from Morgan. Hey, Morgan.
Hey.
Hey, y'all. I recently
love
found,
it.
I know. I recently found your podcast and I absolutely love it. Thank you. I listen to a few true crime podcasts, but sometimes you just got to break the murder up with some more upbeat mysteries and magic, you know?
Yeah,
we do know.
We do know. That's why we're here.
I love hearing you guys' magic and mystery episodes and would love to hear you all tell me about cryptids. Some are pretty cool and less well-known ones are, oh crap, Ashwang, Banshee, Catsith. I swear this is like I'm being punished.
I just thought that. Like, oh man, Megan loves this.
Bow. We're not even through. That was one. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Second, Bobbin, Sith Beast of Bodmin Moor.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then a disappearance story you don't hear very often that is really bananas. Bryce Laspisa. I love listening to you guys. It's like I just made 2 new good friends.
Oh.
Thanks, Morgan.
Hey, Morgan.
I had another friend say that. She was like, my friend listens to the podcast and she feels like she knows you. And I'm like, yeah, that's
what we're
I
here
want.
for. Yeah.
I want you all to feel like we're buddies.
Not distant.
Right. So
famous
I
individuals.
also, yeah. I love cryptid stuff and we'll
Yeah.
totally pull together an episode on those at some point. But for now, I'm so glad she reminded me of Bryce Laspisa. Do you know that story?
No.
Okay, his disappearance is one of these stories I'd read about several years ago. But like she said, it's not brought up very often. It's not one of those that when you think of like mainstream true crime,
whatever. Yeah.
So, you know how I'm so fascinated by the ones who just vanish.
Yes.
And his disappearance is every bit as mysterious as Maura Murray's disappearance to me.
Oh.
So, only
we
listen
need
to
to make a
this.
TikTok of this.
Yes. Only listen to this if you're ready to have another case to obsess over.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Okay.
Bryce Laspisa
Uh-huh.
was born and raised in Illinois. He graduated from high school in 2012, so this isn't like a
not
super
that long
old
ago.
story.
Yeah.
Mm. And after he graduated, he and his family moved to California, which is like a huge move, you know, from Illinois to California. He was also an only child, which seems like it would have made it even harder to
leaving
move
all his
somewhere brand
friends.
new.
Yeah.
But you don't have that built-in
Right.
like friend group. But it seemed like he adjusted to it really well. Bryce was a really talented artist, and he had a really impressive portfolio already, even at that young. And he went to Sierra College in Rocklin, California, and majored in graphic and industrial design.
Oh.
So Bryce was like smart and creative.
Yeah.
And one article described him as extremely charismatic. He was also a redhead, so we love him.
We love him for that.
Anyway, that personality of his
Anyway.
is probably what helped him adjust so easily to the
Right.
move also. Like
Yeah.
he didn't have any trouble making friends.
Yeah.
And he started dating a girl named Kim Sly.
Ooh.
I know. Like, it's one of the cooler names of.
Yeah.
She should be a spy, don't you think?
I would like that.
Yeah. I'll be disappointed if she doesn't.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding, Kim. You do whatever you want with
Yeah,
life.
Kim, you
don't have to live up to my expectations.
Kim, so you just do you.
Yeah. So basically, Bryce was just one of those dudes who you'd look at and be like, well, he'll be good at whatever he does.
Yeah, he's got it together. Yeah.
He was an excellent kid. So his freshman year of college ended, and he went back home to his parents' house. That was in Laguna Niguel. Okay. Sure. About 465 miles from Sierra College. I'm sure this is no surprise, but he had a really good relationship with his parents.
Oh.
And he was also, like, taking an English class over the summer just to, like, get ahead. Just, like, by choice.
That's like my 12-year-old the other day asked me if I would buy her a 7th grade math book so she could freshen up. And I was like, who are you?
I mean, that makes sense as much as you're into math.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's in your blood.
It's in, yeah, I love
math.
Love numbers. Math and words.
So then he goes back to college his sophomore year.
Good for him.
On the first day of classes, August 26, 2013, he called his mom and he was like, I really enjoyed the classes I took today.
Okay.
He called his mother. Of
Guys,
course he did.
He's a well-rounded individual.
I know. And it's not only that, he called her just to tell her how much he enjoyed his classes.
Oh, gosh.
I love him. Just bless
Not,
his heart.
hey, Mom, I slept in and skipped a bunch of classes
That
today.
was my college experience.
Yeah.
I loved him. I love him more and more. So
yeah.
His mom was like, great. He sounds happy. Everything's normal.
Right.
Fine. But at school, the people who saw Bryce every day were like, something's wrong.
Oh, no.
So he'd gotten back in Rockland for the fall semester about 2 weeks before school started. So they'd been around him for about 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And everyone was just like, he just seems off.
Yeah.
His behavior was described as increasingly erratic.
Oh.
So here's a shocking piece of information. Bryce had never been a bad kid. He was like a normal teenager. He wasn't like a golden perfect child or anything. He certainly had alcohol. He tried marijuana.
Yeah.
He was normal.
Yeah.
And his parents were like, okay, we don't love it, but we're going to be realistic.
Yeah.
You know, which could be part of why they had such a good relationship.
Right.
Because, like,
They're
it was
just
okay if he wasn't perfect. No one taught him there'd be a blue mark on his forehead for sinning.
Are you kidding? He didn't grow up in a 10-foot cage fence.
That's a throwback to the acid bath murder episode.
Oh, gosh.
A few weeks ago.
Ugh.
Okay, so what was so weird about his behavior when he got back to school, apparently he started drinking hard liquor every single day.
Oh.
Which he'd never done before.
Yeah. And
his friends were confused and concerned, but Bryce is like, this is no big deal. There's nothing wrong. Don't worry about it.
What?
So like I said, school started on August 26th, 2013. The next day, Kim, the girlfriend, she was like, you seem like extra strange right now. And she knew he'd been drinking more and more. But this seemed like more than that. And finally, he was like, okay, I've also taken Vyvanse, which is a stimulant. It's an amphetamine-based narcotic, and it has the same kind of effect as methamphetamine. Mm-hmm. It gives you energy.
Don't ask me how I know that, but yeah.
It gives you energy.
I don't do it, but yeah.
And you don't need sleep for like a long time.
Yeah.
And I hope that doesn't sound like a commercial for this drug. You know what else gives you energy? Coffee.
You
can come to Coffee at Oak and Main. Get yourself some coffee. You know what's great? Sleep. Sleep is so amazing.
I love naps so much.
I mean, no one tells you when you're younger just how much you're going to love sleep someday.
Oh, yeah. Like, naps are incredible.
It's the best. And Kim was like, what? Like, you're taking this drug?
Yeah. So you need
you're mixing it with hard liquor?
You need an upper and a downer?
Yeah. So it was just so unusual, and this wasn't Bryce. And, you know, Bryce he got like irritated with all the questioning. Yeah. And finally, he sent Kim a text message. He what? Does meth do that?
Meth and alcohol?
He sent her a text message, and he's like, listen, you're better off without me. And broke up with her.
Oh.
And so I feel like the way I just said that makes it sound like they got in a fight and he broke up with her. No, but it wasn't like that.
He was just like, I'm done.
Right. It's more like she was worried and he was annoyed, but the breakup text was super out of nowhere. And he didn't give a reason. It was just a very abrupt, like, we need to break up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, super weird.
Yeah.
Around 11 p.m. that same night, Bryce went to Kim's apartment. And no article I read about this ever says why. Because I'm like, why did he go over there? They broke up. But maybe he went to just get stuff. I have no clue. So I was like, apparently we don't know why he went there.
Right.
And later I'm kind of like, is there a reason that we should know that he went over there?
Yeah.
But I don't know. Nobody seems to make a big deal out of it.
Right.
When he went to leave, Kim was really worried about him, and she took his car keys, and she's like, listen, just sleep, stay here, sleep, and then you can drive home, you know? And this made him mad, and like he demanded that Kim give him his keys back. And I feel like I'm talking now about a whole different person than that sweet Bryce that I talked to about at the beginning. It's weird.
Well-rounded individual.
Yeah.
Everybody has their demons.
Yeah. Okay, so Kim won't give him his keys back, so Bryce calls his mom.
Kim won't give me my keys, Mom.
It's like, listen, Bryce, love you, but what are you doing?
Kim took my keys, Mom.
His mom is like, should I come get you? And he's like, no, you don't need to come get me. But he also, in that conversation, told her that he had something important to talk to her and Dad about, but he didn't give any more details. Oh. So then his mom speaks to Kim on the phone. And Kim, give him his keys back.
Give him his keys.
And Kim ends up giving Bryce the keys.
Oh, Kim.
Kim. Bryce had promised his mom that he would call her when he got home, and he leaves Kim's apartment at 11:30 p.m. I'm certain that Bryce's mom regrets telling Kim to give Bryce his keys, and I'm certain Kim regrets giving him his keys. Because I'm like, she's not your mom.
Yeah.
But she's a kid. Whatever.
Right.
At around 1 a.m. that night, Bryce called his mom to say he'd gotten home safely. However, cell towers would later show that he was not home. Oh. He was heading further south, past Sierra College and toward the mountains.
What?
So the next morning, Bryce's parents get this automated message from their insurance saying that someone had made a roadside assistance request for one of their vehicles, and Bryce's car was on their insurance plan. Oh. And they're like, well, we know we didn't call for anybody. Yeah. And, his mom was like, Bryce is home. He called me when he got home. Yeah. So they called Bryce just to see if he had car trouble or what was going on. Yeah. But when they called Bryce's apartment, his roommate was like, oh, he never came home last night. I haven't seen him.
Oh, no.
So then his mom tried his cell phone, but he didn't answer.
Oh, no.
Right.
But the cell phone was on and ringing?
Yes.
Okay.
So they were able to look online to see what auto shop had helped Bryce, when he did the roadside assistance call. Yeah. So apparently he had called roadside assistance at 9 a.m. that morning.
Oh.
From a small town called, this is precious, Button Willow. I know.
What?
I actually put here, Precious. Which was 350 miles south of Kim's apartment.
My gosh.
So he must have driven all night without stopping in order to be there at 9 a.m.
Wow.
Yeah. His parents kept trying to call his cell phone, but he never answered. And his dad finally was like, well, let's call the auto shop and see what's up. So they called that auto shop that had responded to the assistance call. And the employee who had helped Bryce, his name was Christian. Christian said that Bryce had gotten to the Button Willow rest area and run out of gas.
Okay.
So they had delivered 3 gallons of gas to him around 9:30 in the morning.
Okay.
So when Christian finds out that his parents are trying to reach him and they can't reach him, he's like, listen, I'll just drive back over there and see, if he's still there. Which is such a nice thing to do. This whole town, I'm just like, it's named Button Willow.
They're
seems
so
to have really nice
giving
people.
and kind and helpful.
Precious. So Christian heads over there, and he's like, it's been 3 hours. Like, it's noonish by now. And so he doesn't really expect Bryce to be there. But when he gets there, there's Bryce sitting in the car. Exactly where he'd been when Christian delivered gas 3 hours earlier.
What?
Just sitting there.
Sitting.
Yeah. And Bryce is like, surprised. He's like, wait, you're back.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Christian's like, okay, you need to talk to your mom. Like, here, use my phone.
Oh.
Call your mom.
Call your mom.
I know.
How cute.
Christian, if you're listening, you're just precious. You're
just the best individual. What a good citizen you are.
So Bryce's mom.
Somebody give him the keys
to the city. Bryce's mom was like, okay, thank God, you're okay. Yeah. Everything's fine.
What's going on?
But as they talked, it's like something was wrong. Now, his voice was clear. He seemed lucid. Like, there wasn't any sign that he was under the influence of any sort of, like, alcohol or drugs or whatever. But when she asked what he was doing, he just didn't have an answer. And he just wouldn't tell her much, right?
Oh.
So at that point, he's just 3 hours from his parents' home. Uh-huh. So his mom's like, I'm just going to drop it right now. Let's just get him home.
Right.
And then we'll deal with it once he's home. Which I think is a good choice.
Yes.
So she was like, go fill up your gas tank, and we'll see you here at our house around 3 o'clock.
Okay.
And he's like, okay.
He agreed to that after driving 300. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Well, but he was driving toward them. Like,
right.
He left Kim's apartment and headed south.
Yeah.
So they relax a little because they're like, he's safe, he's alive, he's on his way home.
He's coming home.
He'll be here in 3 hours. So they wait.
Okay.
And they wait.
And they wait.
And they wait.
Okay.
By 3:30, he's not there.
Great.
And it's only 30 minutes later, but like given everything that's happened.
Yeah, they're freaking out.
So they try calling. He doesn't answer.
Of course he doesn't.
No. Hours go by, and there's no word from Bryce. And at that point, they call the police and they report him missing.
Okay.
The police immediately contact Bryce's cell phone provider, which I thought was like smart.
Yeah.
And to ping his phone and figure out like, where are you?
Right.
And guess where the phone pings?
Back at the apartment?
Buttonwillow.
Still sitting there.
It has been 10 hours since he called roadside assistance. It's been 7 hours since he talked to his mom and said he would head home. He has not even left Buttonwillow.
What?
And remember, this is just like a super tiny little town.
Yeah,
like,
tiny
what
town.
is he
Like,
doing?
why is he there? Yeah.
So 2 deputies go out to check on him once they figure out his location. He'd gone to the gas station to fill up his gas tank just like he told his mom he would.
Right.
So, like, why did you go fill up your gas tank if you're not even going to
Exactly.
leave?
Yeah.
But then instead of getting on the interstate, he just parked near the interstate.
What?
Like on the side of the road. So that's where the deputies find him.
Okay.
When they get to him, he's nice. He's cooperative. He said he's just blowing off some steam before he heads home. It's been 7 hours
of steam.
Yeah. He wasn't, again, like, just like his mom said, the deputies have the same. They're like, he's not acting weird. Like, this whole thing is weird.
Yeah.
But he's not acting drunk or high or confused.
There's just a force field around Buttonwillow that he can't get out of.
He didn't seem to be in any type of distress. Still, just in case, the deputies had him get out of the car. He did some field sobriety tests.
Okay.
He passed them easily.
And they couldn't make him go anywhere because he was fine.
Exactly. And they searched his car with his permission. He was like, yeah, go ahead. They didn't find anything suspicious. So at this point, they don't really have any choice but to let him go.
Yeah,
like, he's not doing anything wrong.
Yeah.
He's over 18. There's nothing illegal in his car.
Also, as those parents, like, as soon as the police called me back and said we've pinged his phone to here, I would just be like, I'm going to get him.
Exactly. Yeah. Starting right here.
Yeah.
I start to be like, why did you not just go get him?
Or call Aunt Kathy. She's going to stay at our house in case he shows up and we're going to go.
Like, I hate, of course, I mean, it's easy for us to say that right now in hindsight.
Right.
I get that.
Yeah.
And I don't mean to be super, this is awful what they're dealing with. But I'm also just like, just trying to understand everything.
Yeah.
I'm like, I just can't believe they didn't go. Like, I get it noon not going because you're talking to him. He sounds totally normal. He's like, yep, on my way home. But at 3:30, when he's still sitting there.
Yeah.
No, not 3:30. It's like 6:30.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
We know you got gas. Where are you going?
So, anyway, acting weird isn't illegal. I mean, thank goodness.
Yeah.
So they have to let him go. But before they let him go, they're like, you need to call your mom. Okay. And he's like, I don't want to. Like, he's just real reluctant to.
Oh.
And that's weird, right? Like, this is
He
Bryce.
loved his mom. He called her and told her how school was going.
He's super close with his family. So the deputies were like surprised that he was reluctant to. I guess because pretty much this whole time he'd been real agreeable to whatever they said.
Right.
But then when they're like, you need to call your mom. And he's like,
I don't want to.
Yeah. They're like, listen, she's really seriously worried about you. And he just still was like, I don't know.
Oh.
Right. So one of the deputies, I love this too, he took Bryce's phone himself and called Bryce's mom's number.
Oh.
Which again, he's just like, give me your
phone. Call your mother. Oh, man.
He told her that Bryce had passed the field sobriety test.
Because, you know what, that deputy's mama was probably at home making him cornbread and like all the fixins.
For sure.
And he was going to go home on his break because he loves his mama. Because that little town's so perfect.
It is perfect.
Okay. Anyway,
except for the force field thing.
Yeah, that's weird. I don't know.
So he calls Bryce's mom using Bryce's phone. And he's like, Bryce has passed the field sobriety test. There's nothing worrisome in his car. Everything seems to be okay.
But he doesn't want to talk to you.
The 2 deputies, they had really taken the time to assess everything. And they know all the stuff that his mom has already told them about the situation.
Yeah.
And they felt comfortable with him being on the road, which I feel like says something. I mean,
yeah.
And, I mean, she was like, do you think he's okay to drive? And they're like, yeah, I mean, we do.
He just isn't going to.
It made her feel better. And then the deputy gave the phone to Bryce. And his mom was like, you need to get something to eat and then get on the interstate and come home.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay. And the deputies leave.
Oh, my gosh.
A few more hours go by.
Oh, my gosh.
And Bryce is still sitting there.
What?
I don't know.
What's he doing?
I feel so bad for him right now.
Yeah.
Because, like, whatever it is, he is
does not want to go
paralyzed. He is literally just like,
and
but he's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
He's not going back. He's not going forward. He is just like
stuck.
So it had to have been awful. This is just a kid. He's
parents.
what, 19?
Yeah.
Okay. He's parked in the same spot where he had been when the deputies found him. Yep.
Okay.
We know this because remember Christian from the auto shop?
Yeah, sweet little Christian.
He drives past him and is like, that's Bryce. Like, that's the guy.
I know that kid.
Yeah. And so he calls Bryce's parents because he has their number. And he's like, listen, Bryce is still here. He's parked on the side of the road.
Little Christian.
I'll follow him to the interstate just to make sure he gets on it. I wonder how old Christian was. Was he like a sweet old man?
I know. Or was he like in his early 40s and just like the talk of the town because he's the nicest gentleman ever?
I bet that's what it is.
I bet it is.
I bet he already has the keys to the city.
I bet he does. I bet he is
all the
keys
cities,
to the
every
cities.
city.
Yeah.
So now, with Christian there watching, Bryce finally makes a move. He stops to get a soda at the gas station, and then he told Christian, I'm going to my parents' house. Christian follows Bryce to the interstate and followed him for about 10 miles.
Oh.
Finally, 13 hours after he'd arrived, so this is what, 10?
Yeah.
Bryce Laspisa left Buttonwillow. Okay. When Christian was following him, he's like, everything seemed fine. Bryce, he's not driving erratically. Nothing seems weird. He followed him for 10 miles, and then he called Bryce's parents, and he was like, hey, he's on the interstate. He's headed toward Laguna Niguel.
Okay.
Over the next couple of hours, Bryce and his parents kept in contact over the phone, where they're like, name any landmarks or street signs as you go, just like trying to keep track of where he is and how long it would take him to get home.
Yeah.
But he was like reluctant to do so, and he would be like, I just don't see any. At 1:50 in the morning, he tells his mom he's getting off the interstate. He wasn't able to tell her where he was, but he did have GPS, and according to the GPS, he was like, I should be home at about 3:30 in the morning. At 2:09 a.m., which is just 19 minutes later, he calls his parents again, and he's like, I'm just too tired to drive. Which, I mean, that's logical.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
You've been sitting in a car literally all day.
So I'm just going to pull over and take a nap.
Oh, God.
And his parents are like, okay, well, if he's going to nap, I guess we'll just try to sleep too. And I'm like, get the car, go get him.
Yeah, what?
Oh. But again, you just don't expect anything. The next morning, the doorbell rings. They're like, oh, thank God, Bryce is home. It's not Bryce.
Oh, God.
It's the California Highway Patrol.
Okay.
Bryce's car had been found wrecked and abandoned on a paved access road leading to the Castaic Lake. Castaic Lake main boat ramp.
Oh.
It had plummeted down a 25-foot embankment before smashing onto the road below. All of Bryce's belongings were still in the car. His cell phone, his laptop, his duffel bag. His duffel bag had his clothes and his wallet in it. All of it's still there. But there's no sign of Bryce. And now, his cell phone's there, so they can't, ping it. Bryce's parents call the police and report their son missing again.
What?
Now, Castaic, where that lake is about 90 miles north of Laguna Niguel.
Okay.
If you're on the interstate, you exit onto Lake Hughes Road, and it leads up a hill to the Castaic Lake recreation area.
Okay.
So you go up this hill, and there's a camera there that records the license plate of every car that goes up the hill.
Oh.
And so Bryce had called his parents at 2:09 to say, I'm too tired, I'm going to take a nap. At 2:15 a.m., that camera captures Bryce's car going up the hill.
Okay.
Now, there's no camera that records the people going down the hill. It only records one way. So he went up the hill at 2:15 a.m., and then at 4:29 a.m., he went up the hill again. So we don't know when he came down the first time.
Yeah.
So that we don't know, how long he was up there the first time or like what he did.
Yeah, like what's up there?
What
are you doing?
And then we don't know like why he went there or why he went back up a second time.
What on earth?
One article I read said trying to figure out what he was doing was as tricky as nailing a jelly in a tree. Is that a saying? I'm from the South. I know all the sayings.
Like what kind of jelly?
What
I mean,
is
a
this?
jelly would just smear onto
Do
a
you
tree.
nail jelly?
You wouldn't have to nail it. You
I
just
think we're missing something.
rub it in.
Someone's missing.
I would say like a Jello.
Maybe it's a typo.
I don't know.
That's a great typo if it is. Anyway.
I hope it is.
It's 4:29 a.m. Bryce's car goes up the second time, traveling towards the lake recreation area. That's 4:29. His wrecked car was discovered less than an hour later. Police were on the scene by 5:30 a.m. There was no sign of Bryce. There were also no witnesses. So, police had to sort of piece together, which is their job, obviously, analyze the evidence, figure out what happened.
Yeah.
So his tire tracks went up the hill, and then they could tell that he entered an access area for a cell phone tower, and they followed the tracks past the tower, which was located at the top of a steep embankment, and then down the embankment. Based on the evidence, it appeared that Bryce was in complete control of the car as it sped toward the ravine, and then he continued to hit the accelerator the entire way down. So when police got to the scene, the car was lying on its side. A rear window had been smashed out from the inside, which they assumed Bryce did to get out of the car.
Right.
Remember earlier I said that all his stuff was there?
Yeah.
His duffel bag was laying on the ground next to that, next to the car, and it was like unzipped, and it looked like someone had rummaged through it, which we assume would have been Bryce. Now, police found a few drops of Bryce's blood in the front seat of the car, but none near the broken rear window and none on the road outside the car. There were also no drag marks or anything at all to indicate that he'd been hurt.
Right.
Like, there's a little bit of blood, but like nothing that's like, oh, he was really hurt really bad.
He could have like busted his nose or something.
So it looks like he purposely driven the car off the embankment, kicked out the rear window and climbed out, rummaged through his duffel bag for who knows what.
Yeah.
And walked away. Remember, this guy is the same guy at the beginning of the story.
Called his mama.
Yeah.
To talk about how much he loves
Has
school.
a good relationship with his parents. Super charismatic. Easily makes friends. Had just finished taking a summer class. Like, over the summer, like, working toward a future. Why did you even go back to school? And you got through the very first day of classes.
Yeah.
What in the world?
Yeah.
Okay. So, the search for Bryce Laspisa began immediately. There were hundreds of deputies and volunteers, as well as search and rescue crews, cadaver dogs, and divers involved. The search was done by foot, ATV, and helicopter, and they searched the hills, the lake, and the shoreline, and they found nothing.
Zero evidence whatsoever.
Bryce's parents got on social media to spread the word and ask for help, and all sorts of people volunteered to help search. Yeah. And there were missing posters printed and distributed everywhere.
My gosh.
Divers spent days in the lake but didn't find anything, and detectives concluded that Bryce was almost certainly not in the lake. So, while this search is going on, the detectives start interviewing Bryce's friends and family, and obviously, since the wreck looks intentional, they're like, is he suicidal?
Yeah, what's going on?
And his parents are like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
But remember, the people at school were like, something's up.
Yeah, he's drinking heavy and doing drugs.
So when detectives talked to his friend at school and learned about the sudden change in his behavior, the drinking hard liquor every day and mixing it with pills, and it just really seems like there's something going on in his life that is troubling him. And that's where I feel so bad. Like, and no one knew. Like, whatever it was, he did not feel like he could reach out to anyone.
Yeah.
I have I just think it's so sad. I think it's sad anytime anyone feels lonely.
Yeah.
And like, this is a guy who was successful and had a lot of friends, had a girlfriend, and he still apparently felt like he couldn't talk to him. Yeah, it's just one thing that seemed like a big red flag. Bryce's roommate said that Bryce had given him his Xbox console and a few games, as well as some diamond earrings that had been a gift from his mother.
Oh.
And when he tried to give it to him, the roommate was like, I don't. And Bryce just wouldn't take no for an answer.
Yeah.
So, like, that could have been a sign that Bryce knew he wasn't going to be around much longer to use these things. So, like, he gave them away.
Right.
I feel like that's a thing you hear about people,
Yes.
you know, who are contemplating suicide. But it's also like, was that because he was suicidal or because he was just planning to, like, run away and
leave everything? Yeah.
So, the thing is, no body ever turned up. If he was so bound...
And the dogs didn't track his scent to anything.
Well, I'll get to that in just a second. But, like, that didn't really go anywhere either. But, if he was so bound, determined to kill himself, and then, like, surprised himself by surviving the crash, it's not like he then went on to call his parents or something. It didn't give him a change of heart. So did he go on to commit suicide another way?
Yeah.
But even then, where's the body?
Yeah, exactly.
When bloodhounds were brought in, they traced Bryce's scent moving away from the crash site and all the way to a truck stop.
Oh, no.
This led some people to believe that he had decided to walk away and start a new life.
Yeah.
Of course, his parents refused to believe this, saying that he would never do that to them. And the thing is, when investigators examined his life, they can't find any obvious reason for him to run away. He was a great kid. He wasn't in any legal trouble. He was doing well in school. He'd taken that summer class.
Right.
So, like, he had a good support system. Why would he want to start a new life and leave all of that behind? Yeah. And I also feel like, I'm sure they investigated everything. So, like, if he had secrets, he did a really good job of hiding them.
Yeah.
Then there's also this possibility that Bryce experienced a head injury in the car accident, which left him unable to think straight, or maybe could have made him forget who he was. So, like, I know, it's such a long shot to me.
Yeah.
2 weeks after the search began, it was scaled back. Police felt like they had thoroughly searched every possible place that Bryce could be and found nothing. There was no evidence that pointed in any specific direction, and they couldn't even be sure if Bryce was alive or dead. They think if they could figure out what it was that he'd wanted to talk to his parents about. Remember when he talked to his mom while he was at Kim's and he was like, there's something I want to talk to your dad about?
Right.
They think that could be like the key. And I agree.
Yeah.
Because maybe whatever it is that was on his mind.
was just eating him alive.
However, his parents are like, no, whatever that was probably doesn't have any significance. And I'm just like, what do you mean?
It clearly
they just don't think it matters.
He was so very stressed about it.
I don't know. So months passed with no new leads. So the family hired a private investigator who specializes in missing persons cases. And she offered her services pro bono.
Was it a psychic by any chance?
Did not say. She believed that Bryce had wanted to go home based on the coordinates plugged into his GPS. And that's a really good point.
Yeah.
Even at
so he just
1
found
a.m.,
this random
his
exit
GPS
and
was
took
pointing
it?
him home. I don't know.
Huh.
Like he was heading home.
Yeah.
And then something made him change his mind.
And they ran like all his phone records and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, because if you think about it, when he's on his phone with his parents in the middle of the night, he didn't have to be heading home. Yeah. They couldn't like live track him, right? So like he could have been saying, I'm heading your way and going anywhere.
Yeah.
Anyway, the PI thinks that Bryce suffered a head injury as a result of the crash and left him disoriented. Fine. But why did he crash in the first place?
Exactly.
What was going on that led him to that point?
What, like when he's sitting in Button Willow, like there clearly were issues then, not just at the
mystery
crash.
doesn't start
at the crash. Yeah.
The mystery starts with
him leaving.
What was happening. Yeah. So she also theorized that he could have suffered a psychotic break as a result of his drug use, resulting in his erratic behavior.
Oh, yeah.
In August of 2015, the Laspisa family hired a sonar specialist to search the lake using sound waves to generate images of the lake bottom. Oh. They believed that if Bryce had been suicidal, he would have entered the deep water at Government Cove. Nothing was found.
No weird creatures.
Except for the giant
eel
catfish. Eel pig. In the nearly 8 years since Bryce has disappeared, there has not been a single confirmed sighting of him.
What?
All of his information is in the National Missing Persons database, and his fingerprints, dental records, and DNA are all on file. So if his body had ever turned up anywhere, it should have been
Yeah.
identified as him.
Yeah.
For what it's worth, while investigators initially believed that Bryce committed suicide, it seems now that most of them believe he chose to leave his life behind and start a new life somewhere else that he doesn't want to be found. The Laspisa family, of course, does not believe this theory, although they do also think he's alive.
Yeah.
They believe he suffered a head injury that left him with amnesia, which could explain why he's never reached out to his family. And I don't. Remember that story I did on amnesia a while back?
Yeah.
One of the things I remember reading then is that memory is the slowest thing to heal after a brain injury. But like the kind of amnesia that lasts for years and years is really rare.
Right.
And wouldn't there be a story of some guy who
Had
didn't
it.
remember who he was?
Yeah.
I mean, this happened recently enough ago that it would blow up on social media.
Right.
There's this guy, he doesn't know who he is. I mean, I just feel like maybe there aren't enough people who know Bryce's story.
Oh, no.
I feel like if you saw his picture, he has bright red hair and blue eyes.
Okay.
And I just think, like, if you saw his picture, it would stick with you and you would recognize him if you saw him again. Of course, he could always dye his hair. Who knows?
Right.
So, Bryce Laspisa has been missing since August 30th, 2013. At the time, he was 5'11" and weighed around 170 pounds with blue eyes and bright red hair, which he normally kept very short. He was last seen wearing a blue and white checkered shirt, a pair of white cargo shorts, and white Nike sneakers with red trim. He had a large tattoo on his right shoulder of a bull's head and his birth date in Roman numerals. The Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department is still actively searching for Bryce's whereabouts. If you have any information, please call them at 323-890-5500. So then I went to Reddit.
I was going to say, this sounds like one of those, like, whole podcast seasons that you could turn it into. Yeah.
So on Reddit, and I didn't quote any of this. I don't know how much credence to give any of it.
Because it's Reddit.
It's Reddit, and anybody can say anything, and anybody can claim to be anybody, right? But if you go look this up on Reddit, there are people who are like, I knew him. I knew his family. That family is not as
wholesome,
great as you would think. And I don't think they weren't saying that, like, his parents were abusive or anything.
Right.
Just that they were maybe a little more controlling than you let on.
Yeah.
And that they fully were like, he ran away.
Yeah.
He had to escape it. But I'm also like, there are people in the world who are going to go on the internet for no reason at all.
Right. Oh, yeah.
And just, like, tell a big lie because they want
attention.
I don't understand. Like, I don't know what you get out of that.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it is something to consider. And it is really bizarre to me that his parents never just... Stop it. His parents never just, like, got in the car and drove to go get him.
Yes.
And I don't know if it's just they were like, again, you never think this is going to happen.
Uh-huh.
But it's also... But again, this wasn't that long ago. If he decided to walk away from his life and disappear...
How?
Yeah. But also, maybe the police do know where he is.
You know what I hope? I hope that he fell in love with Christian and he was like, I'll be right back.
Well, that's another talk on Reddit is that
together.
People are like, I think he was gay. He couldn't tell his parents. He ran away. But also, again, I don't know. How much do you believe what people say on Reddit?
I love Christian so much that I hope that he
too.
just went back for him.
If anybody knows Christian, you just tell him he's great.
Yeah, I mean, Christian,
I hope
if
he's
you
great.
have a family and children, that's, you do you, but I just really hope that you found true love.
I hope so too, Christian. I hope you're happy. And Bryce, I hope you're happy.
Yeah.
Like, that was
Reach out to us.
I do. Just tell me. I won't tell anyone.
Yeah.
We're
good secret keepers.
I'm like, could he be in the witness protection program? Did he see something?
Yeah.
Or like I said, maybe the police did find him and he was like, I don't want you to tell my parents where I am. And maybe
they had to honor it because he was of sound mind.
But I think at that point, wouldn't they tell his parents he's located and he wants you not to leave him alone?
Yeah.
Or he
that's
wants
what you would
alone.
think, that he's safe and alive, but we can't tell you where he's at. I feel like that's something they would do.
Mm-hmm. But that's it. That's the story of the disappearance of Bryce Laspisa.
Pete.
Feel like, and maybe it's just hopefulness, I feel like he
is still out there.
chose
somewhere.
to disappear.
Yeah.
But I also think that about Maura Murray, and people like rip me apart online when I say that. But I do. I think
no,
Maura
I
Murray
feel
chose
like
to
the same.
disappear.
Yeah, I feel like she's still alive. I feel like she's either in the witness protection program or she's just pieced out.
Mm-hmm. The witness protection program. It's a great answer for
everything. That and alien fairies.
Yeah. Yeti
force
alien
field, alien created force fields.
Anyway, thank you, Morgan, for reminding me of that story. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah. And if you
go ahead.
If you have any other stories that you want to share with us, just reach out. We will add it to our list.
Yes. And I feel like we haven't said this in a while. If you are enjoying the podcast and you would like to leave us a review, please do so.
Yes.
If you're not enjoying the podcast,
just go
you
on.
don't need to leave
just
us a review.
Keep going. Just keep flipping along.
All right. We love you guys.
We do so much.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.